When we talk about leadership, it's really important to recognize where we are in the world today and how quickly that world around us is changing. Some is for good, some is not for such good. And in fact, it's pretty messed up sometimes. And it takes an evolutionary cycle, though. I really feel like as that cycle happens, and sometimes you step back before you can step forward again, we're at a certain time and place. And that doesn't mean that we're not continuing forward. We're still progressing. There's still perpetual motion. And I think when we recognize that fact and when we figure out where we are in that cycle, we can take a step to understand what we can do next to push that momentum forward. No matter how difficult our world feels today, there's a progress, and that progress can't be denied. It's a fundamental change in the way we work. It's a fundamental change in the way we live. It's an improvement in the way the businesses now define success. There is a benefit to starting at the bottom and maybe not having those family relations and not having those school advantages, because by working my way up through a career, it meant that I had good bosses, and it meant that I had bad bosses, and I think you actually learn equally from both. I learned from watching, and I learned from working, failing and succeeding. I learned what motivated me and what would motivate my colleagues around me, and how I learned that the boss's leadership styles affected the whole team. And step by step, I learned how to be the kind of boss that I wanted to have. This is a time where we actually have opportunities for any of us who felt excluded from that kind of boss's chamber to actually step ahead and lead. We're starting to see the differences in leadership, and I think there's a few important reasons why. First, there's technology. Technology itself has transformed businesses, and if you think you aren't in the tech business, you're mistaken. Everybody's in the tech business. Technology has changed the way we work, from finance to healthcare to travel to tourism. It's changed what we expect of businesses and how companies relate to the people that they're trying to serve. It's redefined what success looks like to business. And now that businesses have a new definition and measure of success, those businesses require new kinds of leadership. Because technology has put the power into the hands of the people. Quite literally, your smartphone is a powerful device of interactivity, of data, communication. It's your voice, so businesses now need to act differently. They need to be more transparent and honest with the consumer, because the truth is really easy to find today. Companies also need to keep ahead of their customer and use data and communication to better anticipate their needs, because the pace of progress is just that much faster. This means we need a different skill set in leadership than we thought we'd seen in recent history. You can't have a single point of leadership anymore at the top of a company in the corner office. There's now a need to empower many different levels throughout an organization so that it needs to keep nimble and keep up with what's going on outside of it. It needs to react and anticipate changing needs. So that means a different skill set is required for a leader. Where once upon a time you had this single focus view and a 5-year plan. Today we need very good communication skills, both listening and speaking. We need to lead through collaboration. We need to take advantage of the skills of those around you. And you need to lean on your team. Good leaders today require resilience and a curiosity to see through the challenges and to learn through changing times and to keep going. Those are not really skills that were demanded of leadership even just a few years ago. But the fact that they're now business imperatives is not just a nice-to-have option. It opens up leadership opportunities for those of us who maybe couldn't see them before. Those skills, communication, collaboration, resilience, curiosity, those are not too long ago considered soft skills. But because they're now necessary, they depend on a certain flexible intelligence that can't be taught in business school. It really is important to promote leaders to whom these skills come more naturally. And whether it's because we're women born with these skills or because we've had to learn them along the way because of the environments that we've been put in, we have these traits. They are ingrained in many of us, and they're skills to be proud of, these skills that we should harness for successful leadership. You will need to draw on these skills to be successful in your job, and you'll be incredibly invaluable to you as you carry them through your career. And because of this pace of business has picked up, successful companies know they need to drive down authorities and decision-making throughout an organization. When there's a Google for every answer, being a know-it-all isn't so special anymore. You actually need to ask the right questions. You have to embed power, you have to embed authority, and you have to embed knowledge throughout every level of the organization. Because as individuals, we actually have more influence than ever before. Not everybody always aspires for that corner office. And I think sometimes we get very concerned about the stats, and we know that it is great to have the aspiration to be a CEO, but not everybody wants to be a CEO. You shouldn't be made to feel ineffective or uninspired if that's not your particular dream. Because now there's so much you can do from the seat that you have now, whether it's the boardroom table, whether it's the office cubicle, or whether it's your kitchen island. Like, we have more power and influence today as individuals than ever before. We have a voice, we have a circle of influence that executive leadership had kept to itself in the past, and now it's shared. I think we are all in a great position. We can lead from where we are, and we need people leading at every level, whether it's at the top of your industry, your company, your department, or even just the head of your project. This is our moment. This is the moment that brings us the most opportunity, and it's a moment that we can't miss.